And yeah, my name is Kirsten, for those of you if you don't know me. Oh my gosh, wait, okay. Yeah, I'm Kirsten. If you guys don't know me, I've been an Enagic distributor for since February of last year, so like a year and a half ish. And I feel like my business is just like really starting to get rolling now. It's like getting to the really exciting part where things are starting to pick up. So basically what we're going to be talking about on this call is so Mackenzie is going to be diving into the science. She is super knowledgeable about the science behind the K8 and everything. And one thing I feel that is like really misunderstood about the K8 is the science behind it. People think that all it does is produce alkaline water, which is not true. It does so much more than that. And so I really want you guys to be knowledgeable on that. And also I'm going to dive a little bit into the compensation plan. And then at the end, we're going to open it up for a Q&A, probably like the last 10 minutes. So if you guys have any questions about anything that we talk about during the call, feel free to keep it near the end and then ask it in the Q&A at the end. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Mackenzie, if you want to go ahead and start explaining the science and everything.
Definitely. Well, first of all, congrats on things starting to take off. My name is Mackenzie. I've been in the business for exactly a year now, and I just ranked up to 4A today, so I'm super excited about that. This business is amazing. I'm in the middle of creating a new training platform, which is really exciting. But yeah, I am super passionate about the science behind the water. I feel like I'm a really left-brained individual, so I like to understand how things are working inside the machine and what's happening at a cellular level. I don't have a ton of time to talk, so I'm going to try and keep it pretty simple, but if you guys have any questions, you can just type them in the chat box. So I'm just going to start off by talking about electrolysis and how we take tap water and turn it into kangen water. So kangen water is also known as electrically reduced water. If you guys are interested in looking up any scientific studies about this, you can go to Google Scholar or PubMed and just type in electrically reduced water. Kangen is like a brand name, and that's actually what the water is. So the water, just you hook the machine up to your tap, and then the water runs through your tap, and then it goes through an initial filtration process. So it removes sediments and bacteria and a few other things, but there are additional pre-filters that you can buy depending on how bad your water quality is. You can do free water analysis on ionfaucet.com, which I can send you guys that link if you want. So yeah, it goes through an initial filtration process, and then it goes into the electrolysis process. And electrolysis is essentially when you have an electric force separating water molecules. So the water passes over 8 titanium dipped in platinum plates, and titanium and platinum are really good for conducting electricity. So the water molecules are essentially zapped and they're dispersed, and they're being separated into 2 different streams. So you have an alkaline stream, and then you have your acidic stream. So a little bit of chemistry background. This might be a little bit confusing, so just bear with me. But there are 7 different levels of pH water that is produced within the K8. So there are over 68 uses for the water. pH stands for potential of hydrogen. So the more hydrogen that you have in the water, the more acidic it's going to be. And then the more hydroxide, which is OH. So if you think of a water molecule, H2O, and you split it up, you have a hydrogen, and then you have an OH. So the more hydroxide that is present in the water, the more alkaline that water is going to be. So this is kind of a lot of information. I'm going to try and like make it super simple. But in the electrolysis chamber inside the machine, you have something called an anode and a cathode. The cathode is where the water is reducing. So hence the name electrically reduced water. that essentially means that the water molecules are gaining electrons. And then at the anode side, you are having oxidation occurring. So that's where the water is coming out of the acidic stream, where you can use that water for all kinds of like cleaning and different things like that. But you never want to be drinking the water out of the acidic hose, only out of the alkaline hose. So what you're left with the alkaline side is you have the water molecule is being reduced into hydroxide and also molecular hydrogen, which is different from hydrogen itself. So hydrogen is a proton, it's acidic, it is oxidizing for your body, whereas hydroxide is willing to give an electron, so it can actually neutralize free radicals inside of your body. And yeah, so what's happening at the anode side is that you have active oxygen and hydrogen, so those are more acidic. What's also really cool about the machine is that if you have contaminants in your water that aren't getting filtered out, it's getting dumped out of the acidic hose. So that's why I haven't bought a pre-filter. Some people do, but not a lot of people are aware of that. But yeah, I know that's super confusing. I can like send you guys videos or photos of what that looks like if you want more of a breakdown of the reaction and what's taking place inside the machine. But essentially, a lot of people think that it's just molecular hydrogen that you're getting that's really beneficial for your body. I don't know if you guys know what molecular hydrogen is, but molecular hydrogen is an extremely powerful antioxidant, and it's really incredible that these machines produce this amount of molecular hydrogen. So for example, blueberries. I think blueberries on an ORP scale, ORP stands for oxidation reduction potential. So that measures how oxidizing a substance is or how anti-oxidizing something is. So blueberries measure to negative 200 on an ORP scale, which is really good. Kangen fresh out of the machine measures at negative 800. Which is insane. So it's super, super beneficial for your body. And what I love about it is that molecular hydrogen is a selective antioxidant. So it will actually target the most damaging free radicals inside of your body. So hydroxyl is one of the most damaging free radicals. It's unstable. It's just a sketchy motherfucker, to be honest. It's like here to do some damage to our bodies. And sorry for cursing. I'm kind of a potty mouth. Molecular hydrogen is actually able to neutralize hydroxyl. So I like want to draw it out for you guys, but I mentioned hydroxide, which is OH negative. Hydroxyl is OH as well, but it's an unstable free radical. And molecular hydrogen will bind to two of those and it turns into water, which is really cool. Molecular hydrogen is just H2. So that, when I found that out, I was like, that is insane. The other things that are produced in the water is, so you have the molecular hydrogen and then you have the hydroxide. So molecular hydrogen is a super powerful antioxidant. Like I said, it's so beneficial for so many different reasons. But then you're also drinking hydroxide, and that helps flush out toxins from your cells. And you're also left with a little bit of active oxygen and some hydrogen ions in the water in like really small amounts. But the hydrogen is really good for charging your cell membranes, and oxygen is what gives your mitochondria, which is essentially like the powerhouse of your cells. It's processing ATP and energy and yeah, giving you sugars and giving you energy for the day. And that, the oxygen gives your mitochondria energy, which gives your cells energy to function, which is all around really beneficial. So that's kind of a science breakdown. I don't know if anyone's following me. Sorry, I haven't even looked at the chat box. Is everyone following me? Okay, good. I know it's kind of a lot to take in. but that's, yeah, kind of a more simplified version of what is happening in the machine. And something Kirsten wanted me to talk, okay, wait, I'm gonna backtrack real quick, sorry. There's a huge misconception that alkaline water is changing the pH of your body. If you guys have ever heard that, that is not true. Our body's pH is extremely sensitive, especially our stomach. I think it's at like 1.5 or 2.5, the pH of our stomach. And I hear a lot of people being like, oh, like alkaline water can't change the pH of your body. And I'm like, that's because that's true. It can't. But people get confused that it's the alkalinity of the water that's really important for you, when in fact it's the hydroxide and the molecular hydrogen that's really beneficial for you. That's what's neutralizing free radicals in your body and helping your body not be in such a state of acidosis, which is what leads to so many different diseases and ailments. I think there was something else, but sorry, I'm a little scattered. It's been a super busy day. The other thing I was going to talk about was the 2.5 strong acid water that the machine produces. This is by far my favorite feature of the machine because you can use this water for, like, you can replace all of your household cleaners with it. So it's 2.5 strong acidic hypochlorous acid water. There are a ton of machines out there on the market, but Enagic is the only machine, or the K8 and the SC501 are the only machines that produce hypochlorous acid. So for example, there are knockoff companies out there that produce 2.5 strong acid water, but it's not hypochlorous acid. It doesn't have the ability to disinfect or sterilize. So in order to produce hypochlorous acid, you need a saline solution that's added to the water. So there's a small tank inside of the K8 and SC501. And when you click the button for 2.5, it just takes the saline solution, just salt water, and runs it through the machine. So you have your normal water, you have the salt water and electrolysis, and that forms hypochlorous acid, which is HOCl. It's pretty much the same chemical compound as bleach, but just switched around and completely non-toxic. Hypochlorous acid is an FDA-approved sterilant and disinfectant and works twice as effectively as bleach does. There have been studies on this, and there's charts. You can look them up on Google, and it's insane. Like, kills microbes, staph, MRSA, so many other things. I'm totally blanking on the name right now, but yeah, it kills everything. For example, to show that it works, like I was cooking chicken the other day, and I was cutting the chicken on my cutting board. And instead of like washing the entire cutting board and like letting it dry and then, you know, cutting my veggies on it or whatever, I like wiped it down, sprayed it with 2.5, let it sit for about, it works within 15 seconds. I let it sit for a minute and continue to cut my vegetables. And I do that all the time. I've never gotten sick. I clean my entire house with it. Let's see. What else was I going to say about the hypochlorous acid? Yeah, these machines alone, to buy a hypochlorous acid unit machine alone costs $4,000. So the fact that the K8 has one is insane. Okay, I think I'm right around 15 minutes. I'm just going to open it up to questions real quick for you guys if you want to ask anything. And if you want, you can just like come out and talk, or you can just type in the chat box. But yeah, I mean, do you want me to touch base on anything else, Kirsten?
I think that's good. If no one else has a question, then I have one.
Yeah, what's up?
So I keep like little spray bottles of the 2.5 and the 6.0 just in these, so I like have them ready and stuff. I was wondering like how long does the charge last inside before like it goes away and it's not like useful anymore?
Totally. That's a really good question. So, this is why you cannot buy electrically reduced water on the shelves of supermarkets, because the electrostatic charge of the water will, it exponentially oxidizes. So, if you fill up a fresh bottle, day one, super good. Day two, it's going to lose half of its power. Day three, it's going to lose three quarters. And day four, it's essentially neutral water again. I've heard with the 2.5 though, you can smell that it smells like bleach. I've heard that as long as you can still smell that, it is still effective. But yeah, that's a really good point, because if you go to the store, do you guys know the brand Essentia? It's like a red and black water bottle company. They claim that they have 9.5 pH water, which you can essentially make anything alkaline if you add like baking soda or magnesium or calcium to it. And that, like adding minerals to water like that after that process, is really bad for your body. So they're essentially adding chemicals to the water to make it alkaline, and it has zero benefit to your body. And they're charging like $3.50 for a bottle of water. That's like 1,000,000% profit that they're making or whatever. So don't be fooled by those marketing tactics that bottled water companies do. You cannot buy pure electrically reduced water on the shelf, because the electrostatic charge, essentially, once the water is exposed to oxygen, the electrons oxidize, and you can only use it for like 4 days max.
So sorry if you already answered this, but when you fill up the kangen water, let's say if you want to like share water with somebody, would the charge in that die in 4 days as well? So they would have to like refill it every 4 days?
Yeah. I mean, the water's still good. It's still good filtered water at that point. But in order to receive the benefits from the molecular hydrogen and everything like that, you need to drink it before those 4 days.
Okay, cool. I'm just like mind blown by the science. Like, I don't know how Enagic literally created these. It's just like literal magic to me.
I know, it's crazy. Electrolysis has been around for a long time, but scientists, after the Industrial Revolution in China, when Japan was experiencing a lot of acid rain, Japanese scientists went out to explore the cleanest water sources around the world. And they found specific areas around the world where people were living like into their 140s, and women were giving birth into their 60s. And it was because of pure electrically reduced water sources. And you can think of like if a lightning bolt strikes a lake, that is essentially what electrolysis is in a nutshell. It's separating the water molecules and giving it an electrostatic charge. And it's really beneficial, but it only lasts for a few days.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gabrielle brought me on this call. I used to be one of her roommates, and she got her machine shortly before I moved out and we graduated. But I just kind of want to know from you guys who are already involved, like, what is your favorite use of this product? Like, what was your one thing that like automatically sold you, like whether it was your skin or like using it on like your produce? Like, what was it for you?
Oh man, there's so many amazing parts to it. I obviously just love the drinking water and how it makes me feel. I feel so much healthier. I have so much more energy. I haven't gotten sick in a year since I've had it. But I really love the 11.5 setting for removing pesticides off my produce. That shit is nasty and so crazy when you see the color of the water. And I just love that I am more zero waste in my home. I don't have to use any household cleaners anymore. I can use laundry detergent, Windex, carpet cleaner, floor cleaner. I don't have to buy hand soap because of the 2.5. I can clean my toilets, like my entire house with it, and it's non-toxic and no plastic. So that's my favorite thing for sure.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. I have another question too then. So recently I just moved to New York, and I came from the Midwest where we have a lot of well water, which is, I'm more partial to well water than I am city water here. But is there a difference in like the maintenance for keeping your machine like performing at its best? Like, do you have to replace filters? Do you have to replace the machine? Like, what's the life on that kind of aspect of it?
So the machine is expected, if maintained properly, to last 25 years, but people have had them well into 40 years. My friend saw a guy walking into one of the stores and he's like, I've had my machine for 40 years, which is super cool. But yeah, you have to clean your machine at least. I try and clean mine once every 3 weeks. It's a super easy process. You just have like citric acid and water, and then the machine self-cleans itself for 3 hours. And then you replace the filter, I believe, like once every 6,000 gallons or once a year if you are a single person. So, and filters cost around like, I think 150 to replace.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
All
I
right.
have a few questions, if that's okay.
Okay.
I really want to know, like, what does the machine do to change the pH? Like, what is happening in the machine that like makes it 9.5 and makes it 8.5?
Totally.
What is,
So,
yeah.
yeah, no, I know it's super confusing to understand, but essentially with the electrolysis process, it's splitting the water molecule up into 2 different streams. So as I mentioned before, hydrogen is what's making the water more acidic, and hydroxide is what's making the water more alkaline. So it goes into protons and electrons. Protons are acidic, that's what hydrogen is essentially, and electrons are, they're not like alkaline, but they're more stable. So the anode is where the acidic water is coming out, and what's that is doing is it's feeding. Wait, I'm getting backwards. The cathode is attracting electrons in the water, and then it's donating that to the hydrogen to form the molecular hydrogen. And then at the anode, it is stealing electrons and making the water more acidic. So pH is just a matter of how much hydrogen or how much hydroxide is present in the water. And because it's splitting the water molecules up and there is that electricity, it's attracting the electrons and protons, and that's what's giving it the different pH.
Okay.
So yeah, does that make sense?
That makes complete sense. Like, I've done so much research on this, so like I totally understand what you're saying. I literally have like a diagram next to me of like the anode and the cathode. Like,
no, that's awesome. I am like, yeah, that is incredible. I like feel like I have a drawing here somewhere that, all right, I'm like so scattered, that'll show you. Let me see. Sorry, I don't want to take up this whole presentation.
it's okay.
Okay, I can't find it.
That's all right. Just another question quickly as well. Like, is it does the electrical charge, like if it's a stronger electrical charge, does that mean that more of the molecules get split up and then there's more molecular hydrogen, and then if it's like a smaller electrical charge then there's not as much, and then that's what like kind of makes the difference? Okay.
Yep, exactly. So the 8.5 is just producing a little bit less power in the electrolysis process. So the 8.5 compared to the 9.5, pretty much the 8.5 is going to have a little bit bigger of water molecules in there, and then the 9.5, it's going to be dispersed even more so, and you're going to get even more molecular hydrogen in that.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Also, what happens when the charge runs out of the water and it goes neutral? Like, what is happening? Are the molecules going back together?
It's pretty much that the excess electrons that are in that water are just oxidizing into the air. So it's just leaving the water. That's a really good question. I believe that the water molecules, because they're like zapped apart, you know, and I think with time they come together and they are bigger by the end of that period.
Okay, yeah. So it's pretty much just to do with like the electrons, I guess, and how they kind of move around in the water.
Yeah, exactly.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, it's super cool. If you need any resources for science stuff, you can like hit me up after this and I'm happy to provide
thank you so much.
Yeah.
I have another question. So I have a 1.5-year-old son who also is living with us. And as far as like that acidic water, if I'm using it to clean, do I have to like worry about him not being around while the water like sits and kind of does its thing? Or if because it's water, like is it still okay for him to be around? Like do I have to worry about him being in contact with anything? How does that kind of work?
That's the most amazing thing about the 2.5 hypochlorous acid is it is completely non-toxic. You could drink it. Enagic advises not drinking it, but you can spray him in the face with it. I use it for my acne. It's a miracle worker for your acne. So you can spray it with him all around, opposed to other cleaners, like you wouldn't want him to be around. You just wouldn't want him to like get his hands on a bottle and start chugging it, he'd be fine, but it's like I don't know what would happen.
Not recommended.
Yeah.
It's also good for diaper rash.
Yeah, that's so relevant right now. We're working on potty training and it's a situation.
Okay. I just got a notification that there's only 10 minutes left. I'm so sorry it took so long, but Kirsten, if you want to take it away on the other points you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. So I wanted to talk about the commission and how we get paid for these. And then I also wanted to explain kind of like the science behind the UConn and the Anespa. I had a bunch I was going to say, but I'm going to make it very brief to fit it all in. But yeah, I also just wanted to touch on like, sometimes I get like weird chest acne randomly and I spray the 2.5 on it before I go to bed and I wake up in the morning and it's literally gone. It's like insane. Okay, so first I want to describe I'll just start with saying that Enagic gets clumped in with the assumption that it's an MLM, and I just want to make it clear that Enagic is a direct sales. They actually are a member of the Direct Selling Association, so they're like literally direct sales. So what an MLM is when you sell to somebody and you recruit them in order to make money. And if you don't recruit anybody, then you can't make money. And what Enagic is you sell a machine and then you get commission for it. And that's it. You can recruit people and make indirect sales from them and you can rank up a lot faster, but it's definitely not necessary. So the only thing you need to do to begin your Enagic business is to invest in one Enagic Kangen water machine. And once you do that, then you get distributor rights for life. So that means you can make a sale like literally if like 50 years go by and then suddenly someone wants to buy a machine from you, you can do that. And once you hit a certain rank, you never de-rank, which is super important. So once you hit 3A, for example, you're not going to slide back down to a 2A if you don't make any sales. So yeah, and when you invest in your Kangen water machine, you're essentially opening up a global business, which means that you can work from anywhere in the world and sell to anybody in the world because Enagic does all of their paperwork through email. So as long as you can send things in through email, you're good to make some sales. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the commission type things. It can get a little bit complicated, but I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. So imagine a pizza that's divided into 8 slices, okay? And out of those 8 slices is the 6 ranks, 1A to 6A. So when you invest in one machine, a K8, you start out as a 1A, and I think this would be $270 US, but I'm just going to use Canadian because it's what I'm familiar with. So it's $340 if you sell one K8, and then you would start out as a 1A, and then it's 2 sales to get to the next rank, which is a 3A. So the breakaway movements highest converting offer is called a trifecta, and what a trifecta does is it allows you to rank up like 3 times as fast, literally. So instead of starting out your Enagic business with 1 machine, you start out your Enagic business with 2 machines, 3 machines. So you would invest in the K8, the Anespa, and the UConn. And what this is going to do is instead of it taking 101 sales to get to rank 6A, which is $2,040 per K8 sale and a $3,000 bonus. Instead of it taking 101 sales to get there, if you purchase a trifecta for yourself and then you go ahead and sell more trifectas, because law of attraction, if you purchase a trifecta, you're going to attract people who want trifectas. So if you buy a trifecta, then you are going to only need 33 direct or indirect sales to reach rank 6A, which is why a trifecta is so important. So a trifecta consists of the K8, the Anespa, which is the shower filter, and remineralization system, as well as ukon, which is the Japanese word for turmeric. So I think I explained the compensation well and why a trifecta is so important in starting your business. So now I just want to say a little bit about what more about the ukon and the anespa. So ukon is just a Japanese word for turmeric. It's anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and it prevents cancer cell growth in your body. And the thing that sets apart Enagic's turmeric from turmeric you buy in the stores is right as soon as grocery stores or the sellers of that grocery store turmeric, as soon as they ground it up and put it into a package, as soon as you open that package, you're going to lose 50% of the anti-inflammatory value, antioxidant value. As soon as you open it up, it just pretty much dissipates over a very short period of time. And what Enagic does is they encapsulize their turmeric in a certain way. So they have soap, tea, and capsules that you can get, and they cover it delicately in a certain way that even when you open the package or whatever, take the capsules or use the soap, that antioxidant and all those good benefits for your body is not going to dissipate over time. And the thing that's really cool about Enagic's ukon turmeric is that it's completely grown, harvested, and washed using kangen water, beauty water, and the 9.5 water, which is, so it's you're literally just getting the best antioxidant on the market to go with your kangen water antioxidant. So you're gonna be vibing. Okay, so next quickly is the anespa. So our skin is our largest organ, and anything that we come into contact with, whether it's through the air, through our lungs, or putting a lotion on your skin, whatever comes into contact with your skin, you're absorbing straight into your bloodstream over time. And one thing that is super hazardous that we are all putting into our bodies all of the time is chlorine. Chlorine, I'll just say what chlorine causes. It's can cause dry scalp, dandruff, hair loss, and at the worst of it, it can cause birth defects and things like that. Also, when we are in the shower, a lot of people don't know this, but we're actually absorbing tiny amounts of chloroform, because chloroform is formed in water when chlorine interacts with organic compounds. And what chloroform is a potent carcinogen that can cause vitamin E deficiency, kidney and liver failure, and even respiratory deficiencies and stuff. So what the anespa does is it filters out all of the chlorine in the water, and it also adds in minerals that our body and our hair needs to thrive. So the anespa is filled with Japanese minerals called tufa, nick, and power stones. So they're basically just Japanese stones that are infused into the anespa, so it will filter out all the bad junk that you don't want on your skin to be absorbed into your bloodstream, and then it's going to remineralize all of the healthy minerals that you need. And yeah, honestly, to me, it just doesn't make sense to drink the healthiest, most antioxidant, most healing water on the planet just to go and take a shower and be prone to birth defects and disease and I don't know, just dry scalp, I don't know, all that nasty stuff, because you're just absorbing all of the chlorine and the chloroform. So,
There's it's about to log us off. Do you guys want me to start a new ID if you guys have any more questions? Maybe start another one. I'm good either way.
are we good? Yeah?
More questions? Okay, yeah, sorry. This, yeah, cuts us off so quickly.
Yeah. Okay, I was pretty much finished anyway, and that was like literally everything, so I guess it's good timing. We have 10 seconds. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, Mackenzie, for sharing your knowledge, and I hope you guys learned a lot. Okay. Well, we might have 45 minutes, but oh well. Okay. Bye. Thank you guys for being here.
Guys.